Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a new episode of PairTrade Finder PRO, where we are analyzing the pair that belongs to the companies Juniper Networks and Lumentum Holdings, which are two companies in the IT industry. The signal was triggered on November the 7th, and the exit was 28th of December. We have tagged this as the December dog of the month because you're gonna see that even the charts were appealing. There was a substantial red flags around the trade, advising us maybe not to take the trade. But as I have to admit I did, there was some other signals stating that it was probably a good opportunity. At the end of the day, the lessons that we want to learn from this trade is that money management is crucial in order to get stable trading. And this is a pair that evolved against us with a loss of almost $400, a limited loss thanks to the 1.7 standard deviation rules, as we will see in a minute, instead of almost 2,000 that we would have lost if we wouldn't use the rule, if we wouldn't have applied a proper money management. So again, as the senior trader said, money management is 90% of your trade. The rest is just following your system. So let's go for it, and as we always do, let's first analyze our cheat sheet and see what was the situation related to that. Earning release on Junipers happened 25 of October, so that's not an issue. But the dividend for Juniper was November the 13th. So that is a red flag we want to take into consideration that there was only 23 days from signal. So dividend, we are going to tag this with the red. And earning dates, we are going to also tag it with the red because Lumentum was presenting results November the 8th, and the signal happened the day before. On top of that, there was some information the previous week. Let me show you in the news this factor that was already stating that Lumentum could beat earnings estimates again. And that's precisely what happened. But surprisingly enough, the price sank heavily. Probably they didn't give a very good outlook for the future, and even if the results were good, the price didn't grow up. In any case, that was what triggered the signal. I will show you just in a second. If you go to the price chart for Lumentum, what you see on the 7th is how the price sinks. Again, probably because they announce not a very good outlook, even if they surpass the estimates. So this is what caused the signal to be triggered on the November the 8th. That's specifically what we are analyzing. So let's go back again to our cheat sheet and continue with our analysis. In terms of news, I already more or less mentioned that the only thing that was relevant, and it was big of course, is the Lumentum announcement. Nothing around November the 8th on Juniper that we should take into consideration. So in terms of news, it's a green, but in terms of earnings release and dividend dates, there was clearly two reds. Next one is per momentum. So if I go to the charts and I show you per momentum, what we observe on the left of the entry is that pretty flat ratio curve that all of a sudden presented this peak. And this was a huge temptation because this big standard deviation in this resistance level, I thought that it was going to revert back fast as normally have happened and producing a very good results. As you already showed in the introduction, that was not the case. But again, per momentum was in an uptrend motion, but previous behavior has been very good. So this make me tag this box with a yellow and not a red. So next parameter to consider is the ratio chart. As already mentioned, the signal was in this kind of resistance level, and all previous trades at that point reverted back pretty fast, presenting very good results. So this is why I thought this was going to be the case, and this is why this ratio chart was tagged with the green. But contrary to that, standard deviation, you can see it here, was 4.32, and we always say that such a big spikes, normally you should be very cautious, because of course there's a kind of abnormality with it, and in this case was Lumentum presenting results. So standard deviation chart clearly is red. RSI it's a green because it was at entry level, at entry signal was 90%, so pretty high, and reversion to media from that point, from that perspective, was pretty possible. The correlation was around 40%, aligned with the correlation for the last 2 years. Co-integration was weak in the backtest analysis I just ran, but this co-integration number when the signal was triggered was around 0.88, which is our level. In any case, a small correlation and a weak co-integration, these two parameters here, in my opinion, they are pretty much connected. So I have marked correlation with the red because it was pretty weak, and co-integration with the yellow because it was not something spectacular. If I go to volatility, I observed that it was around 2.6, 2.6 something. So it is almost on our threshold, but still under control. And we tag that with the green. It's a little bit tight, but to me it's a green because it's almost on the boundary. CAGR and drawdown in the backtest. That was 4.42 and drawdown was more than 16. So again, this is something that is pretty connected, and to me, this is a red. So final conclusion of analysis is that, well, how the hell on earth did I take these trades? Chance to get a negative were substantial. Probably the thing that confused me was these previous spikes behaving with very good results, and I surrendered to the temptation. I shouldn't have do it, because if you take a look to this cheat sheet, it's horrible. But well, this kind of things happens from time to time. Good news is that if we would have applied the 1.7 standard deviation rule at this point here, 14th November, we should have exited the trade with an almost 400 lost, but we shouldn't go all the way to almost 2000. And that is the lesson I want to stress, because this is really important. This is something that I made properly, because I exit at this point, seeing that situation were not improving and that I have hit the 1.7 standard deviation rule. And that made me proud of sticking to the money management that I imposed to myself. So you really need to take into consideration these rules and some other money management that I have explained in previous videos, because that is the thing that is going to allow your P&L curve to grow steadily. So with that, the only remaining thing on my side is to wish you a very good and safe trading, and see you all in the next episode.